He's like, like, man, my daddy got it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, my daddy controlled the spins. My daddy got the DSPs. My daddy, Drake has a rich baby daddy.
Man, I was straight up done with that whole Drake versus UMG drama. I didn't even want to talk about it anymore. People were drained, the story was dry, and I thought the case would just drag on forever. I figured I'd wait till a real decision came through before saying a single word again. But out of nowhere, boom, it's like Christmas came early for Drake. Judge Vargas just hit that gavel and tossed the entire case out. No slow buildup, no warning, gone in a flash. The courtroom must have gone quiet after that one. So here's the backstory for anyone who forgot. Drake was actually suing his own label, UMG Recordings. Yeah, wild, right? He said they were behind some sneaky moves involving Kendrick Lamar's track Not Like Us. According to Drake, the label was using Kendrick to tear him down, dragging his name through the dirt for their own gain. And the reason? He thought it was all because he was due for a new contract deal. After getting lyrically smacked around, he started feeling like Eduardo from The Social Network, outnumbered, blindsided, and thinking the whole squad turned their backs on him.
I can't fake it. I can't fake it. That was ass.
This case had layers of betrayal, ego, and straight-up industry chess moves. Here's the thing. Drake kinda tripped himself up here. He can't really act shocked about the beef when he's been part of this back and forth for years. Both he and Kendrick have been throwing slick shots, dropping hidden lines, and keeping that rivalry alive like it was a tradition. They didn't just feed the fire, they built the whole barbecue together. And honestly, that's the spirit of hip-hop. It's like a sport where lyrics are punches and pride's on the line. Fans live for that energy, the competition, the ego, the clever disses. Now, to be fair to Drake, it did look like he tried to squash the tension for a minute. That collab idea with him, J. Cole, and Kendrick gave off unity and brotherhood vibes, like they were about to show the world that peace could actually win in the rap game. But that dream didn't last long. Kendrick straight up turned down the feature. And what happened next? J. Cole and Drake fired subtle jabs at him on first-person shooter. Then Kendrick came swinging right back with Like That, basically saying, "We're not cool, and I've got things to say." He even sent a side message to J. Cole, like, "You can catch these bars too." No one was safe. Eventually, Cole dipped out before things got uglier, but Drake? He took the bait head on, and the rest became legendary hip-hop history. Still, let's be real. This feud did damage his image. The memes were everywhere. People from every corner were dancing to Kendrick's diss, and the internet started throwing wild labels at Drake. And when your whole brand is built on status and perfection, that kind of hit stings deep.
No, like after Kendrick's thing, you wouldn't. I noticed you didn't really get into that too much. So
I just I don't know. It just wasn't real to me. It's like,
after a year packed with public humiliation, from the Grammys to the Super Bowl, Drake had to be boiling inside. Imagine being surrounded by your peers, all smirking, whispering, maybe even laughing at your downfall. That kind of sting hits deep, especially for someone who's used to sitting at the top of the food chain. So what does he do next? He flips the script in the most unexpected way, pulling what some called the boldest Karen move in rap history. Instead of dropping another diss track or letting it fade, he decided to take it to court. Wild, right? Filing that lawsuit made the whole Not Like Us drama stretch even longer than anyone expected. In his filing, he accused UMG of orchestrating a plot against him, claiming they illegally boosted Kendrick's diss through bots and sneaky radio payola tactics to make it explode on the charts. He said the whole campaign was meant to tear his image apart. And get this, Drake also argued that the record was defamatory and could even put him in danger. The irony? It's massive. After years of playing the mob boss persona, suddenly he's saying a diss record could cause him harm. Plus, this is the same guy who once backed a petition to stop lyrics from being used in court, and now he's flipping that argument to his advantage.
Drake filed a lawsuit for defamation against Universal Music Group.
Let's not forget, Drake's dropped dozens of diss tracks himself, targeting rappers left and right, all while cashing in millions from the very platforms he's now blaming. The double standard couldn't be louder. If this case had actually swung in Drake's favor, it would have changed the whole game, and not in a good way. Think about it. That kind of ruling could have opened the door for people to start twisting artistic expression into legal ammo. Imagine rappers, writers, or even comedians facing civil or criminal charges just for what they say in their art. That would have been chaos for creative freedom everywhere. And honestly, Drake was climbing a steep mountain from the start. Defamation is nearly impossible to win when you're a public figure. You've got to prove real, intentional harm, and that's tough when your entire career lives in the spotlight. Plus, he's thrown his own punches before. His diss tracks and clapbacks have had some pretty sharp accusations too, so the whole victim angle was already shaky. Even the judge didn't miss that. In the ruling, it was mentioned that Drake had accused Kendrick of mistreating his own wife, and also claimed Kendrick's wife, Whitney, was having an affair with his best friend, Dave Free, even suggesting there was a secret kid involved. That's wild stuff to be throwing around, even in battle rap. The judge basically said what everyone was thinking. Diss tracks are emotional, heated, and filled with exaggeration. They're not meant to be taken literally. The court agreed that the average person can tell when it's just lyrical trash talk. Nobody really believed Drake was being labeled as something criminal. It was just part of the ongoing shots about his sketchy past interactions and rumors that have followed him for years.
I think Drake is going to ask for something that no artist has ever asked for or received. And it's going to be very interesting to see if he receives that.
As far as money?
As far as compensation for damages.
On the lawsuit side.
Absolutely. We talking upwards of $2 billion.
$2 billion?
Absolutely.
The drama was loud, but the legal leg to stand on? Paper thin. Man, it's wild. The court files even brought up his strange friendship with then 13-year-old Millie Bobby Brown. That part alone had people raising eyebrows all over again.
Texted each other the other day and he was like, I miss you so much. I was like, I miss you more.
What advice does he give you? Like, what does he say?
About boys. He helps me.
What?
Yeah. He's great. He's wonderful. I love him.
What's his advice with boys?
You know, that stays in the text messages.
It's crazy that something from years back is now resurfacing in official paperwork. One of the biggest reasons this case got tossed was simple but major. Opinions aren't defamation. The judge basically said that any reasonable person should know how to separate a statement of fact from someone's opinion. Like, you wouldn't treat what a stand-up comedian or a podcast host says as hard news, right? At least you shouldn't. But these days, people hang on every word that comes out of a podcaster's mouth like it's gospel truth.
I met Drake in an Australian hotel. I was touring and he was touring too. And honestly, his managers just came up to my dad and said, Drake loves the show, come to his show tonight. And I was like, are you joking me? Drake? He wants to see me? And I was like, okay, we're going. So I got my outfit prepared, I went there and he was such a fanboy and I was such a fangirl.
Things really started taking a bizarre turn when Drake tried to dig into Kendrick's private business. He actually asked the court to hand over Kendrick's contract with UMG. And get this, he wanted any info related to Kendrick's family, even stuff about his kids and his longtime collaborator Dave Free. That's a bold move, and it screamed desperation. It felt like Drake was fishing for anything that could give him leverage later, some kind of dirt he could hold on to if he decided to reignite the feud. By this point, it stopped feeling like a legal battle and started looking like a PR mission gone wrong. Drake wasn't just fighting for justice, he was fighting for his image. He wanted to flip the story, make himself look like the victim, and reclaim the respect he thought he lost. But in the end, the whole thing backfired. It didn't save his reputation, it made the loss hit even harder. The embarrassment ran deep. And to top it off, while all this legal drama was fading, he tried shifting everyone's attention with his new Double Ice Iceman rollout, hosting those long, drawn-out live stream sessions. It's like he was hoping to distract people with spectacle while the internet still hadn't stopped talking about that courtroom defeat. Even after all that courtroom chaos, Drake just couldn't let it go. He kept throwing slick little hints online, acting like the whole battle was rigged from day one. He was still taking sneaky shots at both Kendrick and UMG, calling Kendrick their Pinocchio, the puppet they used to tear him down. Every post, every bar, every caption had that same message, like he was the mastermind sitting on some big bomb that was gonna blow the truth wide open. But let's be real. While he was talking like he was 5 steps ahead, it looked more like he was lost on the board. His fans swore he was out here playing 4D chess, but in reality, he was stuck in Candyland. That so-called red button he kept hyping up for over a year, that secret weapon he promised to drop, it never came. And when it didn't, some of his diehard supporters started to lose it. They'd been waiting, refreshing feeds, convinced he had a grand plan that would shock the world. Watching it all play out online was something else. You had whole groups of fans dedicating themselves to this case like it was their life's mission. They built theories, dropped proof, and spread every rumor they could find. Some truly believed Drake was about to win so big he'd end up owning UMG. Others said he'd walk away with billions. But when the case got thrown out, reality hit hard, and those same believers were left defending a fantasy that had completely fallen apart.
Because he said you have an illegitimate daughter, you're You groom women. And then Drake's comeback was, I don't have an 11-year-old daughter. And Brian said, hey, bro, address the other shit.
While some of his fans were eating up every subtle jab he dropped, anyone actually paying attention could see what was really going on. Drake was serving up a whole lot of nothing. He was acting like he had solid proof, but when it came time to back it up, the evidence was weak. The man was literally using his own fans' tweets as courtroom evidence. Like, what? He even pulled clips from DJ Academic's live streams and tried to pass them off as factual support for his legal claims. You can't make this stuff up. The judge wasn't buying it either. She called out how flimsy the whole argument was and pointed out that this case looks shaky from day one. And honestly, that's been obvious since the moment Drake filed it. The irony is wild. This is the same guy who told Kendrick in his own diss tracks to speak on his weird situations with young girls. Yet now he's shocked that the conversation flipped back on him. The so-called Epstein angle? That's exactly what he invited into the ring, and the judge made note of it multiple times. Drake even tried to argue that everyone should just ignore all the other diss tracks that came out during the beef, all because Not Like Us blew up bigger than his. The judge wasn't having that at all. She completely tossed that idea aside. It's honestly hard to understand how anyone thought Drake could come out of this with a win. From a legal or moral standpoint, he had no solid ground. This wasn't about being a fan or a hater. It was just plain unreasonable. Sure, maybe he felt like UMG was trying to hurt his future worth or mess with his catalog. But in the end, his whole case looked like a desperate attempt to rewrite the story. And it backfired. Let's just keep it real. Drake's pushing 40 now, and he's still out here playing pretend like he's some mob boss one day and a heartbroken lover boy the next.
I'm outside, daddy.
That whole image might have worked when he was on top, but it's starting to look like an old costume that doesn't fit anymore. It's like expecting LeBron to score a 10-year maxed out deal at this stage in his career. Yeah, he was that guy once, but the game has changed. Since that whole beef went down, Drake's been flooding the scene with music. 30, maybe 40 tracks, and none of them have stuck. Not one carried the weight of his past hits. The only one that got a little traction was Nokia, and even that felt like a flicker compared to the flames he used to drop. For a dude whose bar is set sky high, that's barely a ripple. And that's exactly why UMG probably didn't take his money demands seriously. He was asking for hundreds of millions, but they were sitting there knowing they already owned his most iconic work. Everything up until around 2018. That's the era filled with the songs that built his legacy, the stuff that'll still be streaming strong years from now. They didn't need to overpay for the newer stuff, especially when those tracks barely made noise. It's not personal, it's business. That's why he's been diving headfirst into this new gambling streamer phase, hopping on long live streams, mingling with influencers, and attaching himself to whoever keeps the spotlight warm.
The fact that Drake is biracial. So I'm looking at it from a black and white perspective, okay? His daddy side engaged in a rap battle. His daddy said, go out there and fight, go out there and fight. And then when Kendrick busted his ass, his mama side said, oh no, Aubrey, we going to the police. Okay.
He's got an expensive lifestyle to maintain. The cars, the jets, the image, and that kind of life burns cash fast. You can tell he's trying to find new ways to keep that money flow steady. But honestly, the solution was simple all along. If he'd just stepped back for a while, vanished a bit, let people miss him, he could have made one clean comeback that reminded everyone why they fell in love with his music in the first place. Drop a polished, focused record with a few strong singles, no distractions, no lawsuits, no weird live streams, just music. That alone could have reignited his legacy. But instead, he kept chasing noise, and now it's like the more he tries to prove he's still that guy, the more it shows he might not be anymore. It's like Drake's still out here yelling, you might have knocked me down, but I'm still standing.
This is legitimately a RICO money laundering situation between the three major labels and the biggest radio conglomerate in the world. Mm-hmm.
Except instead of moving on, he's doing everything he can to stay in everybody's face. At this point, he's giving off pure sore loser energy. Every time he tries to rewrite the story, he just ends up reminding people of the L he took. He's been pushing this whole Not Like Us saga long after the world stopped caring. It's like watching someone get rocked in front of the whole school, and instead of just brushing it off, they keep showing up the next day saying, it didn't count, I slipped. Everyone's just standing there like, bro, let it go. And now, nobody even knows what's going on with this whole Iceman rollout. The entire album campaign was built around the idea that he was gonna come out victorious, that he'd beat UMG, expose secrets, and prove he was the real one in control. But now that the case got thrown out, the whole narrative collapsed. It's like watching a movie where the plot twist never arrives.
You can't even walk outside, because anytime we're at a party, someone's gonna play a song that's about you being a pedophile and we're gonna sing along to it.
His fans are still out there waiting for that mysterious red button moment, the big reveal that's clearly never coming. Honestly, this lawsuit just felt like the ultimate Karen move, trying to weaponize the system because he couldn't take a public L. It didn't just make him look defensive, it made him look scared to face the truth. And let's not forget, UMG, the same company he accused of betraying him, has been the one helping push his music and keep his name hot for over 15 years. The irony there is wild. To me, this whole thing exposed more about Drake's ego than anything else. It showed how deeply that defeat cut him, how desperate he was to shift the story back in his favor. But instead of repairing his image, the lawsuit just made the loss sting even more. Now, his relationship with UMG is tangled, his rollout's uncertain, and his fan base looks confused about what's next. But that's just how I see it. What about you? Do you think Drake still has a shot at bouncing back from all this, or is his empire starting to fade for real? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear what you think about this whole situation. And hey, if you liked this breakdown, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. It helps a ton and keeps the channel growing. More wild stories and deep dives are on the way, so stay tuned.